Welcome in to another edition of Gold and Black Radio. I'm your host, Derek Schultz. I guess this would qualify as the first quiet-ish week that we've had in a while. I'll knock on wood here because it hasn't been very quiet when it pertains to the football and men's basketball news cycle. But there hasn't been a lot of news on the football front outside of a few more transfer commitments trickling in last week, which we'll touch on here in just a bit. And really not much of anything on the men's hoop side, as it seems like most of their bearings are set as they head into the summer. But of course, that could all change soon with the imminent house settlement looming. We're going to talk about that and so much more with Tom Dienhart here in just a few minutes. But first, a shout out to our great Gold and Black sponsors, including Purdue Federal Credit Union, a proud partner of Purdue Athletics and the official credit card for Purdue fans. Boiler Up, East End Grill and Ripple and Company, two distinctive bistros across the street from one another on the far end of Main Street, the perfect place for your next event. The Whitaker Inn, this Midwestern oasis is perfect for a relaxing staycation or a weekend getaway. Escape from the ordinary at the Whitaker Inn. Sand Valley Resort. Tee times are available for the 2025 golf season at Sand Valley. Using their online booking platform, it's easier than ever to find availability and experience golf as it was meant to be. Conveniently located in the breathtaking dunes of central Wisconsin, Sand Valley offers a collection of award-winning courses designed by world-renowned architects that are suitable for all skill levels. Visit sandvalley.com and book your tee times online today. And the Purdue Institute for Cancer Research. The Purdue Institute for Cancer Research has a history of innovation and one goal for the future: defeat cancer. Purdue brings together world-class Boilermaker scientists from across the university, conducting cutting-edge research that uncovers new ways to prevent, diagnose, and treat cancer. With your support, cancer research saves lives. Join the fight and donate to the Purdue Institute for Cancer Research today. Without further ado, let's bring in our buddy Tom Dienhart, who is ready for the summer as well. And before we get to maybe the legal stuff, the NCAA and all of that, Tom, what would you say is next on the Barry Odom docket as we start to creep closer here to the summer months?
Well, I think a lot of the players are heading home for a week or so. And then, everybody will get back for the summer lifting and some formal workouts. Still some dribs and drabs, I think, we'll see from the transfer portal, Derek. Nothing major. I think all the key cogs, if you will, have already been added. But I think they would still like to add more depth players, guys to help fill out the roster. One or two offensive linemen. So again, kind of keep your eye peeled on the portal still to a lesser degree. But again, I think most of the hay is in the barn. And then high school recruiting, right? June is a big month for official visits. Purdue's got several on the docket for June. And of course, Derek, they've got 3 camps that they're going to host. Not far from where I'm talking to you at, over off Northwestern Avenue at the football complex. Of course, that's a chance for them to kick the tires, if you will, on some players. 2027 players, probably mostly juniors to be. So that's really the 3 big things left, or at least on the near horizon for Barry Odom and the Purdue football program.
Yeah, you mentioned high school recruiting, which almost seems like quaint, right? Yeah. Like it's almost like antiquated high school recruits. I remember those, which is mostly the reason why sites like goldenblack.com exist, right? It's because of high school recruiting and people's interest in that. But, Barry Odom at UNLV, I don't know if there was a lot of crossover in the recruiting area, even though everybody recruits nationally now because the world's just a much smaller place. But certainly at Missouri, they went into Illinois a lot, a border state, and obviously Purdue has gone into Illinois. Everybody goes into Illinois if you're a Midwestern college football team. But has he talked about specifically, some target areas or, some coaches come in and say, we're going to do better about recruiting Indiana and things like that?
He's not really laid out specific areas that they really want to focus on, Derek. I think from early indications, how they finished up the 25 class and how they're recruiting the 26 class, you can see where some of their areas of emphasis are. You talked about Odom and his roots in Oklahoma, Missouri, St. Louis area in particular. You talked about Illinois and Chicago. Josh Henson, the offensive coordinators, he was at USC, and we see some of those connections already starting to bear some fruit, or at least some offers early on in the Barry Odom tenure. Nevada. They were there for 2 years, so we're seeing some Las Vegas kids that pop up on the radar too. And of course, the South, right? Everybody gets their foot down in the deep South. They've been in Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida. So again, typical areas, and you're right, Derek. Isn't it funny how high school recruiting was the be all end all, but these portal recruits, I guess they're shinier objects, right? Because we expect them to play right away. We don't have to wait to watch a high school kid for sure for 3 years. Gosh darn it, and get on the field. We get instant gratification from the portal guys. So they do tend to overshadow the more long-term prospects of the high school kids. But again, let me just say this too. Barry Odom has made no bones about it. He still wants high school recruiting to be the basis of this program. I think early on, Derek, as he's getting this roster flip, trying to establish, a new baseline, that he's going to have to lean on the portal early on these first couple of years. We've obviously seen that, right? So I think over time, we'll see the reliance on the portal here obviously dip back down, I think.
Yeah, and everybody, I think, is to some extent trying to thread that needle, because you don't want to do rent a team every year, because you'll just be pulling your hair out if that ends up happening. But a couple of names that did trickle in since the last time that we spoke last week. Purdue has continued their success going down to the SEC in the portal. They got an Auburn defector, Enrico Walker. Interestingly, he's the first tight end of the spring class, and also has Power 4 experience at Maryland. So this will be his third Power 4 stop. But what can you tell us about him? And I'm assuming just depth again, like you had mentioned. That's kind of the name of the game with this time of the period.
He's a good example of modern day college football. 3 years, 3 different schools. College Park, Auburn, West Lafayette. Never gets unpacked. But you're right. The first portal tight end in the spring. They had 3 in the winter period. You're right. He'll provide some depth, I think. They got an interesting kid. They took some interesting kids overall late here, Derek, from some smaller schools. Long Island University, defensive lineman, LIU. I'll give you $5 if you can tell me the LIU nickname.
Blackbirds?
The Sharks.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I had Blackbirds on my mind somehow. Yeah.
But yeah,
that's funny.
They got a kid from Monmouth, Derek. Monmouth going out to,
like
a guy, you can appreciate some East Coast college football. Monmouth, a defensive end. A guy from Fort Hays State, a defensive tackle. So no stones are left unturned, Derek Schultz, when it comes to mining football talent. They're not just looking at the SEC, they're looking at all these different levels. You never know where you're going to find somebody, right? And they want guys who can contribute. So, yeah, those are some of the more recent additions they've had in the portal. Do the final tabulations. 27 guys came in the winter. Actually, 29, but 2 of those have left. 27 are left. 27 guys came in the spring. I can do this math, Derek Schultz. That's 54 guys. 54 guys from the portal since the end of the 24 season. Then you factor in 16 incoming freshmen. That's 70 guys? 70 guys who weren't on the team last year will be on the team this year, of a roster of maybe 120 guys. So what I'm trying to say here, Derek Schultz, is there's a heck of a lot of new faces on this team.
I want to give myself some credit here, even though this is a dated reference. So LIU used to be separate campuses, and the Brooklyn campus was the Blackbirds.
Okay, there you go.
And starting in 2019, they became the Sharks, as I think they merged with whatever the other campus is at LIU. So there you go.
That's a lot of LIU information, Derek Schultz.
It's very weird. I had Blackbirds on the mind for some reason. I'm like, I know that I've heard that. So I think they might have made the tournament one year or something like that. Who knows? Purdue unfortunately has some not so great experience playing small, like tri-state, New Jersey, New York area commuter college basketball teams. So luckily LIU is not one of the ones that has beaten them, thankfully.
Yeah.
So I wanted to pull that one out there. Because you had mentioned Elijah St. John as well. I'm always intrigued by the FCS guys, and he appears to be a top-end one from the FCS as well.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool, too. The guy from Monmouth, Miles Mitchell, a defensive end. He certainly is, his height and weight and his production was awfully good at that level. Derek, I think if you can play football, you can play football. It doesn't really matter, I think, the level you play at. We got hundreds of examples every year in the NFL. Guys matriculating from these smaller schools and excelling. So again, if you can play, you can play. Just watch the tape, and I think you get a chance to talk to somebody, people around them. So again, I love those guys too, Derek. It's kind of fun. Sometimes too, Derek, I really think, and I talked to some people last year about this too, sometimes these guys are really hungry. They're moving up to the big time, right? Big Ten football. Or sometimes, man, if somebody's coming from an SEC school, school, maybe, they've been there and done that. I'm not trying to paint anybody that everybody the same broad brushstroke, but still, I think you know what I'm trying to say. Sometimes when guys make that step up, they're really hungry. They have something they want to prove, and those are easy guys to root for, the underdogs, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think not even FCS, but just non-power four level. I
Yeah,
think we saw it last year at Indiana. I
yeah.
mean, to use an example that our listeners are going to be familiar with because of the rivalry and all of that. I mean, look at all of the Sun Belt level transfers that Indiana got that popped, and not only were they good players, they were all Big Ten level players.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know that's an extreme example because you're not expecting to go into the portal and hit at the rate that they did last year, but I mean, that's an example of where those guys really came in hungry and were ready to prove themselves.
Yeah, Purdue's got, I guess, a decent amount of those guys when you consider, UNLV's a non-power four conference school, and we'll see what Jalen St. John is like. Hank Purvis, the linebacker, Manny Powell, and again, they've got a number of guys who came from non-power four schools who you think would have a chip on their shoulder or something to prove here. And again, it's going to be fun to watch this whole cocktail of new talent sort of get blended together by this coaching staff here. I can't believe it, Derek. We're almost halfway through May here, and we're going to be at Big Ten Media Day in it seems like a couple months, and then they're going to be going through practice by the end of July, early August. So that's all going to get to our doorstep before we know it. We're doing work. I'm doing some work right now, some freelance work on college football preview magazines, if you can believe it. So it seems like it's all right on our doorstep here, and Purdue is going to be a very intriguing story to watch.
Yeah, hell, I mean, in 2 weeks, Purdue will have played its last game 6 months ago. Right? It doesn't feel like it, I guess. Well, maybe it does feel like it considering all that's happened to Purdue since then. But I mean, it kind of underlines the point of, we're far closer to the start of the season than we are to the end of it.
Yeah, that was a lifetime ago. I mean, it was a cold night there in Bloomington. My goodness, waiting outside that stadium to get in the press box. It was chilly. So you're right. It's hard to believe it's been that long, and plenty to look forward to. And like I said, it's going to be fun. We're watching the staff work, what the offense is going to look like, what the defense is going to look like, and those first two games, are obviously huge. Ball State, SIU, you got to make some hay right out of the gate, right before USC comes here.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Shout out to Kelly Kitchell, by the way, for giving me the hot hands toe warmers before that bucket game in Bloomington, because those were a lifesaver. Because some of us weren't in the warm press box. Some of us had to watch that beatdown in the elements. But it was a cool atmosphere with the snow and everything like that. The game not worth reliving, though, unfortunately. Last thing here, Tom. And from everything that I've heard, Purdue is, everybody's bracing for impact with this, but how is Purdue feeling heading into the imminent house settlement and, revenue sharing and all the things that are coming down the pike here?
We'll have to wait and see. I haven't really asked many people the question about how they feel it's all going to shake out. So some people on the periphery, I think for me, is the roster size. There was that thought that it's going to be a 105-man roster. Well, it sounds like now, maybe it's going to be grandfathered in. You could still have upwards of 120 guys on your roster. Some guys that were quote unquote cut could be brought back if you want them to come back. So I think that's something that a lot of the staffers are watching with obviously a very watchful eye to see what the roster size is going to be. Is it going to go down to 105, or are they going to be able to have as many as 120, Derek? And do you want as 120 guys on your roster too? I think that's an interesting question as well. So yeah, I think a lot of people are eager to see this thing get settled so we have some type of a framework moving forward.
Yeah, it would just be nice to have, like you said, something to work off of. So everybody has just been kind of making it up as they've went along because that's what the situation has required. And it'll be nice to, I don't know if we'll ever have real stability in this new world, Tom, but at least something semi-concrete that everybody can kind of understand. Okay, here are the parameters of what we're going to do here, and this is what you're going to have to work around. And so I'm looking forward to that day because it's just been a lot of, read and react. And that's, while it's been fun at times, I think it's been awfully stressful. And I can't imagine being a student athlete or a coach right now with everything that's been happening. It's just nuts.
Yeah. Tough for the coaches, good for the student athletes if you're trying to make money, right? And
true.
The pendulum has certainly swung to the side of the student athletes. But, we seem like we got this slow churn, this slow roll toward maybe some type of a normalcy to it all, Derek. If we do get some type of I don't want to call it a union, but some ability to collectively bargain with the players and Then you can set up ground rules as far as, I don't know, salary caps, player movement, things of that nature. But at this point, it's just a very loosely run. There's really no rules at this point, and we see that kind of chaos played out during the course of the whole transfer portal season the last few months.
Always chaotic, but that means that the news is always fresh and interesting, and you can find it every single day right here at goldenblack.com through Tom's terrific work. Still finalizing some of the pieces to the 2025 Boilermakers and anything and everything football related. Check out Tom and subscribe today at goldenblack.com. Appreciate the time as always, buddy. We'll do it again soon.
Thank you, Derek. Be good, buddy.
That's our friend Tom Dienhart, and that is our show. A little bit of a shorter one today. We'll reconnect with Brian Newbert coming up next week, but wanted to give a final thank you to our terrific sponsors of Golden Black Radio, including Purdue Federal Credit Union, the official credit card for Purdue fans, East End Grill and Ripple and Company, two distinctive bistros across the street from one another on the far end of Main Street in Lafayette, the Whitaker Inn for unparalleled comfort and cuisine. Visit the Whitaker Inn. Sand Valley Resort. Tee times for the 2025 golf season at Sand Valley now available at sandvalley.com. And finally, Purdue Institute for Cancer Research, which has a history of innovation and one goal for the future: defeat cancer. Join the fight and donate to the Purdue Institute for Cancer Research today. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. And, of course, you can leave a positive review. We would really appreciate that. And for our Golden Black listeners, you want to check out this offer. The promo code PU1 still going at checkout. If you are not a subscriber, you can do that right now. PU1 at checkout. When purchasing a monthly subscription to goldenblack.com, you get 2 months. Two of them for $1. Subscribe to goldenblack.com on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and enable alerts as well. So we got you covered, not just with the OG website, but all other platforms, new highlights, videos uploaded regularly, great recruiting stuff from Tom, from Brian, all the news, obviously, through Golden Black, through all of our terrific platforms on here for the best Boilermaker coverage that you can find on the internet. But until next time, I'm Derek Schultz. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next week right here on Golden Black Radio.